Once a raggedy little alley mouse heard an encouraging tale that on a warm spot beneath the kitchen stove it was just gone up for sale. So Mr. Mouse moved off the street and settled in under the floor with his dear wife and 17 children in a nook of number 24. Mrs. Mouse gathered soft fizz for bedding and crumbs from cracks in the floor, while Mr. Mouse found the best passageways when he went out to explore. One day, as he ran, he saw something new and stared in puzzled delight as an evergreen tree was brought inside and covered with twinkling lights. The house smelled of ginger and peppermint as Mr. Mouse sniffed the air. He peeked as the trays of cookies that were baking in the kitchen just upstairs. Mr. Mouse and Mrs. Wife watched the gathering of family and friends that night, with dancing and singing and games and gifts, everything merry and bright. Mrs. Mouse whispered, "Why light up that tree? Why dance and give gifts and sing? What makes this night special? Can you find out why they are doing these things?" So Mouse crept by the fire and listened to the story of shepherds and wise men seeking a child and angels streaming glory. Mouse learned on that night long ago was born the Lord of the earth, and the lights and the songs and the giving were to celebrate his birth. And then he heard about how Santa's checking his list of the naughty and nice. He wondered if Santa Claus even had thought to bring his gifts to a family of mice. So Mr. Mouse quietly crept back downstairs and told what he had heard above. All that fussing upstairs is for Christmas, and Christmas means joy and love. Then Mrs. Mouse smiled. "I've got a grand idea, and this is just what we'll do. We'll put up a tree in our little nook and celebrate Christmas too." Not a creature was stirring late that night, except for Mouse and his wife, who were putting the finishing touches of a Christmas made for mice. Just to be safe, Mr. Mouse tied a bell to the neck of the sleeping cat, then scurried from room to room to borrow a little of this and that. He dragged everything back to their mouse hole while humming a Christmas tune, and busily worked to set it all up till he had transformed the room. A small sprig of pine and a bit of string made a perfect Christmas tree, and the glow-in-the-dark star at the top shone brightly for all to see. Mrs. Mouse had been sewing pyjamas, the first pair for everyone. Mr. Mouse brought down the scraps of bright paper to wrap them when she was done. They covered the matchbox with foil and made a table for treats, and gathered up piles of gingerbread crumbs and candy cane to eat. Mr. Mouse whistled. "It's time to begin." The children poured through the door. There's never been such excitement before in Nook number 24. They danced to the tune of the music box and then played musical chairs, hide and seek, and round the charades, just like the party upstairs. Mrs. Mouse, she passed out all the packages to joyful cries of surprise. When the children saw their pyjamas, they couldn't believe their eyes. They ate all the crumbs and sang the Christmas songs, and then by the firelight, Mr. Mouse told the children the story about the Christmas night. Each mouse has a miniature stocking to hang on a little hook, just in case Santa Claus knew all about the mice. and found his way to their little nook. And Mrs. Mouse and the children went to bed after the clean-up was done. Mr. Mouse fell asleep in his chair. He didn't hear Santa come. He woke of a sudden on Christmas Day to his children's shout of glee. Each stocking was stuffed with a chocolate chip and a little bit of cheese. Then Mr. Mouse saw the box at his feet, and Mrs. Mouse had one too. Inside was a top hat, shiny and black, and she had a soft scarf of blue. Mrs. Mouse gave a kiss to Mr. Mouse. "A Merry Christmas, my dear. I have an idea, and I hope you'll agree. Let's celebrate every year." There's always a party at Christmas time. There's one underneath the floor where Mr. and Mrs. Mouse celebrate in Nook number 24.